inspire more people to talk to their members of Congress about the need to change our policy. It makes absolutely no sense that someone like you can't come here anytime you want and perform. And it makes no sense that an American performer should be restricted, not always by the Cuban government. Sometimes they are restricted by the Cuban government, but restricted by the United States government in terms of traveling to Cuba. We should break down these walls, and the American people should be able to travel to Cuba, and the Cuban people should be able to travel to the United States. And so that's my hope. I mean, that's what we're pushing the Obama administration to do, is to change this policy, get rid of the travel ban, which is a relic from the Cold War. It makes us look stupid. And I love my country, and I think we should get rid of stupid policies. So, having said that, I thought what we might do is kind of just have a little bit of a conversation here, and then you can perform, and everybody will be happy when you perform, and I shut up. But we're going to have a little exchange first. And I think what a lot of people wonder is what it is like being an artist in Cuba, and what role do artists play in Cuban society.
Cuba es una tierra que tiene la bendición de donde han nacido grandes escritores.
Cuba has been blessed with giving birth to a number of great writers,
Grandes músicos, grandes artistas.
great musicians, great artists.
Hay una maravilla de estructura de escuelas de educación, de formación de artistas.
There are wonderful schools to educate and train artists.
Yo nací en el 63, es decir que cuando nací fue muy fácil estudiar.
I was born in 1963, and it was very easy to study.
Y bueno, ser artista en Cuba con los años, cuando descubres que ya no cantas solamente para 50 personas, sino para 50,000.
Well, being an artist in Cuba, you suddenly discover you're not singing anymore for just 50 people, but 50,000.
Se convierte de alguna manera en una responsabilidad también.
That suddenly becomes a responsibility as well.
Cuba es un país donde los jóvenes van a los conciertos no porque vendas discos, no porque salgas en la televisión.
Cuba is a country where young people go to concerts not because you sell a lot of CDs or you come out on television,
sino porque la gente necesita identificarse con cada una de estas canciones.
but because people need to identify themselves with each one of these songs.
Siente que le cuentas parte de su vida, parte de su historia,
They feel like you're telling part of their story, part of their experience.
de lo que ganaron, de lo que perdieron,
Things they won, things they lost,
sus ilusiones, sus amores, sus desamores, sus desilusiones.
their illusions, their disillusions, their loves, the lack of love.
Y por eso es muy interesante que los conciertos en Cuba, desde el escenario puedes escuchar la respiración del espectador.
And that's why it's interesting that at a concert in Cuba, from the stage, you can hear the breathing of the audience.
Cómo vibran con cada una de las palabras, con cada una de las frases.
You can hear them vibrate with every lyric, with every verse.
Yo creo que eso es una bendición para un artista, tener esa oportunidad de transmitir a través de su música esos sentimientos.
And I think it's a blessing for an artist to be able to transmit that kind of feeling through the songs.
Esto es una oportunidad maravillosa que tengo de estar acá, gracias a Sara, gracias a David.
It's a wonderful opportunity to be here, thanks to Sarah and thanks to David.
Es una oportunidad de estar en Washington y sentir que a través de mi música puedo conversar, puedo dialogar sobre mi país.
And it's an opportunity, wonderful opportunity to be here in Washington and feel like I can talk about my country, dialogue about my country through music.
No represento ningún gobierno, no represento ningún partido, soy un ciudadano común, cubano.
I don't represent any government, I don't represent any party, I'm just a common citizen in Cuba.
Pero tengo mucha fe en que a través de la música, los intercambios culturales, podemos acercarnos mucho más a ambas partes.
But I have a lot of faith that through exchanges and through music, we can come together, both sides can come closer together.
Así que estoy muy agradecido por tus palabras y de verdad que muy agradecido de estar otra vez acá. Soy músico, a través de la música creo que me puedo expresar mucho mejor todavía.
So I'm very grateful for your words, very grateful to be here, but I'm a musician and I think I can express myself much better through my music.
Let me ask you, I said that some have called you the Bob Dylan of Cuba. And Bob Dylan, who is an incredible artist here in the United States, often challenged the United States government. During the Vietnam War, his songs questioned whether we should be in the war or not, and some called him a protest singer. I think one question that people might have is, how free are you to, and other artists, how free are you in Cuba to be able to express your views and, through your music? Are there restrictions? Have you been told not to sing certain songs? Or I think a question here in the United States often is about the freedom of artists to be able to express themselves.
El tema de la censura en Cuba y de la canción protesta viene desde hace muchos años.
The issue of censorship in Cuba and protest music is a long-standing one for many years.
Hay muchos artistas como Silvio Rodríguez, Pablo Milanés, que al comienzo sus canciones parecían oscuras.
There are many singers like Silvio Rodríguez and Pablo Milanés that at the beginning their songs seemed dark.
Lo mismo ha sucedido conmigo y con parte de músicos de mi generación.
And the same thing happened in my case and with other musicians of my generation.
Cuando comienza y eres muy joven, pues hay mucha gente que desconfía un poco de lo que dices a través de tus canciones.
When you begin and you're very young, a lot of people distrust what your message is, what you're saying in your songs.
Nunca me han dicho que no puedo cantar una canción.
They've never told me I can't sing a song.
También es cierto que hay canciones que no pasan en la radio y en la televisión.
It's also true that some songs are not aired on the television or radio
De
stations.
cualquier manera, la radio y la televisión son del Estado y ellos tienen su llamado criterio de selección.
The radio stations and the television are state operated and owned, and they have their selection criteria.
Eso no ha impedido para nada que yo cante en los sitios más grandes de toda Cuba.
That hasn't stopped me from performing in the largest venues in Cuba.
Y no ha impedido para nada que los miles y miles de jóvenes canten conmigo todas estas canciones.
And it hasn't stopped thousands and thousands of Cubans from singing those songs along with me.
Creo que con los años, Cuba es un país pequeño, los artistas no andamos en limusinas, todo el mundo sabe cómo vives y cómo eres.
In Cuba, the musicians and artists don't go around in limousines. Everyone knows how you live and what you're like.
El cubano te para en la calle, te da opiniones sobre el último disco, tu última canción, está de acuerdo o no, te toca.
A Cuban will stop you in the street and say what they think about your last CD or your song, whether they like it or not. They touch you.
Es decir, que puedo decir que tengo 11 millones de guardaespaldas.
I could say I have about 11 million bodyguards.
Y eso también es una bendición porque el contacto directo con cada joven, con cada público, te hace crecer.
And that's also a blessing because that contact with every young person, with the public, each time it causes you to grow.
En mis conciertos se produce siempre una magia y una catarsis con el público.
There's always a magic and a catharsis that occurs when I play.
Que recibimos a través también de miles y miles de cartas a nuestro sitio web.
From the public, and it also comes through the many, many letters we receive through our website.
Y es una responsabilidad sentir que hay gente que siente que puede llevar sus canciones consigo.
And it's a responsibility to feel that people take your songs along with them.
Ríen con ellas, lloran con ellas, hacen el amor con ellas.
They sing and they cry with them, they make love to them.
Muchos incluso amigos que han abandonado el país a través de las canciones tienen una manera de encontrarse con parte de la historia de su ciudad, su nostalgia, su soledad.
Many friends who've left the country through the music and the songs find a way to connect to their own history, their own place, their own city.
Es decir, que ahora mismo hay un montón de jóvenes esperando que regrese para contar mis experiencias por acá.
And there are a lot of young people waiting for my return so that I can tell them about my experiences while I was here.
Qué mejor manera para mí que contarlo a través de la música. Estoy escribiendo canciones aquí.
And what better way for me to tell them about it than through music? I've been writing songs while I'm here.
Una de ellas la quiero terminar a 4 manos con Jason Brown, que Hice una canción bilingüe.
And one of them I want to finish is Four Hands, Cuatro Manos.
Sí, entre dos personas.
Four hands among two people.
Y es una canción que se llama El poder de tu sonrisa.
And the song is called The Power of Your Smile.
Tiene un verso que dice, yo nací en la otra orilla
And it has a verse that says, I was born on the other shore,
y soñé y luché y crecí como un suicida.
and I dreamed and I struggled and I grew like a suicide.
Mucho más que las heridas, mucho más que el mar y el viejo dolor,
Much more than the wounds and the sea and the old pain,
está la vida.
there is life.
Yo no soy tan diferente de ti.
I'm not so different from you.
Y Nueva York no está tan lejos ni de ti ni de mí.
And New York is not so far away from you, not so far away from me.
Así que puestos a ver, solo me importa el poder de tu sonrisa.
So in the end, what is important to me is only the power of your smile.
Just have a couple more questions before we let you perform. But we all work on Capitol Hill here, and we're congressmen and congressional aides, and so we always have a lot of questions. I'll tell you, I'm jealous I can't sing like you. I'm jealous I can't talk like you either. Very, very poetic, profound. Can you tell us how U.S. policy affects artists in Cuba and cultural exchanges between the U.S. and Cuba? I think it's important for people to know what the impact of our policy here.
Sí. Cuando la administración de Clinton era muy normal que venían muchos músicos y artistas a los Estados Unidos.
Under the Clinton administration, it was more normal for Cuban artists and musicians to come to the United States.
También en el año 99 se hizo un evento maravilloso en Cuba que se llamó Music Bridge,
And there was a wonderful event in 1999 held in Cuba called a Music Bridge,
donde asistieron un montón de músicos y compositores norteamericanos a reunirse con músicos cubanos.
and many U.S. musicians and composers came to Cuba and met with Cuban artists.
Y de ahí salieron canciones, relaciones de trabajo y caminos y puentes maravillosos.
And it produced wonderful songs and paths to follow and work to be done and so forth.
Proyectos que luego fueron interrumpidos por la administración de Bush.
And those projects were interrupted by the Bush administration.
Es muy contradictorio cuando en el 2004 me niegan la visa para hacer una gira por varias ciudades de Estados Unidos.
It's very telling that I was denied a visa in 2004 to come and do a tour in the United States.
Ver las imágenes de muchos jóvenes cubanos en Miami protestando.
To see the image of many Cubans in Miami protesting.
¿Cómo era posible que habían abandonado Cuba buscando la tierra de la libertad
How is it possible that they'd left Cuba looking for the land of the free
y luego se les negaba escuchar a su artista?
and they couldn't hear their own musician, their own artist?
Me parece que los músicos y los artistas cubanos y norteamericanos podemos conseguir muchas cosas que han tardado en conseguir los políticos.
It seems to me that many U.S. and Cuban artists and musicians could achieve a lot that the politicians have failed to achieve.
Entre el tiempo que ha pasado de discrepancia, de tensiones entre ambas partes,
All the time that has passed with differences and tensions from both sides,
yo creo que los artistas y los músicos cubanos, norteamericanos, podemos adelantarnos a sembrar y a crear un camino de un futuro puente que nos acerque mucho más a ambas naciones.
I think that we U.S. and Cuban musicians can forge ahead and sow something to create a future bridge to ameliorate the situation.
Conozco muchos músicos norteamericanos que desean visitar Cuba
I know a lot of U.S. Musicians who would like to visit Cuba,
y que desean actuar en Cuba.
who would like to perform in Cuba,
Para esto es necesario también que cambien algunas leyes, ¿no?
but some laws have to be changed in order for that to come to pass.
Si la presencia mía acá y sacar la guitarra en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos significa un aporte para que este diálogo y para que este puente sea posible mañana,
If the fact that I'm here and that I take out my guitar and sing in the Congress of the United States can be a contribution for this to happen, for this to come to pass,
a pesar del frío,
despite the cold,
estoy dispuesto a regresar todas las veces que sea
I'll come back as many times as necessary.
I was in Massachusetts earlier. It's about 30 degrees colder up there, so should be glad we're here.
Ahora voy a Toronto.
It's on its way to Toronto.
There were some of us here who worked with Juanes to help with his Paz Sin Fronteras concert. Cindy Buell in my office, Peter Quilter with Chairman Berman, and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton were very helpful in helping to expedite the necessary waivers and clearances for U.S. artists and support staff to be able to go to Cuba and perform. And I thought that was a significant step in the right direction. And you performed in that concert as well. 1.2 million people. What was it like? And do you think that has might be used as a way to open up relationships between our two countries?
Absolutamente.
Absolutely.
Existe un antes y un después de este concierto.
This concert marks a before and after.
Yo sé que esperábamos aproximadamente medio millón solamente.
I know that we were expecting about 500,000 people.
Y era impresionante ver esa plaza por primera vez con tanta gente vestida de blanco, sin consignas políticas.
And it was quite something to see that plaza so full of people dressed in white without political slogans.
Me recordó cuando la visita del Papa, y era una manera de que el mundo se abría a Cuba y que Cuba se abría al mundo.
It made me recall the Pope's visit. It was a way of the world opening up to Cuba and Cuba opening up to the world.
La canción fundamental de Juanes, Olga Tañón, Miguel Bosé, que fueron los que de alguna manera capitaneaban el barco, ¿no?
The three principal people were Juanes and Olga Tañón and Miguel Bosé.
Era cambiar el odio por amor, ¿no?
And the main song was Changing Hate into Love.
Creo que el pueblo cubano le respondió a su artista con un acto maravilloso presente ahí a pesar del tremendo calor que había ese día.
I think the Cuban people responded to the concert with their presence despite the tremendous heat.
Porque agradecían profundamente la defensa que habían tenido durante esos meses anterior al concierto sobre el derecho, ¿por qué no?, de los músicos a actuar en Cuba.
Because they'd also been through the months preceding the concert of defending the right of these musicians to be able to perform this concert in Cuba.
El pueblo cubano es un pueblo agradecido y un pueblo de mucho amor, de mucha fe, y yo sentí que fue realmente una experiencia religiosa.
The Cuban people are people full of gratitude and love and faith, and I think that was reflected. It was a religious experience.
Demuestra que estos encuentros pueden ser posibles más a menudo.
And it shows that such experiences are possible and could be more frequent.
Y a través de la música, pues, está demostrado que se puede convocar a muchas almas de ambas partes.
And it shows that through music we can bring many souls together from both sides.
Ojalá que podamos hacer un concierto así con músicos cubanos también en Washington.
I would love to do a similar concert with Cuban musicians here in Washington.
Y estas canciones, esta música, pues, puede colaborar muchísimo en entendernos y conocernos mejor.
And these songs and this music can contribute to help us understand and get to know each other better.
Gracias, muchas gracias por el apoyo para que ese concierto fuera posible. El pueblo de Cuba te lo agradece profundamente.
Thank you for your help in making this concert possible. The Cuban people are very grateful. Thank you very much.
Ahora resulta que hasta Julio Iglesias quiere ir a cantar.
And now even Julio Iglesias wants to come down and sing.
Bienvenido, Julio Iglesias también.
And he would be welcome.
Well, maybe our next assignment should be working on this Washington concert. Sounds like a pretty good idea.
Sería fantástico.
Yeah, let me just close then. I mean, I want to thank you because I think you've helped me appreciate more the fact that music transcends politics. It's our common language, and it brings people together, even people with very different political views. And I think the more that we can encourage these cultural exchanges and have these concerts and bring people together and to talk about things like your songs do, about the need to come together and to respect each other and to love one another. I think that that's a good thing. And you know, I went to the Cuban ballet when I was in Cuba, and I'm not a ballet aficionado by any means, but it was like going to a rock concert. And every time someone did a jump, the audience would stand up and cheer. And every time we did a twirl, it was, you know, it was uncontrollable cheers, and it was just the most exciting thing that I've been to in a long time. I could, and I got to sit with Alicia Alonso, who is this, you know, is a legend in the ballet world, and actually danced in the American ballet when she was younger. And she raised a lot of the same points that you've raised, and that is, you know, why can't we do more cultural exchanges? Why can't the American people experience the Cuban ballet, and the Cuban people experience the American ballet? And I mean, you know, it's such a wonderful thing to see, and in your case, such a wonderful thing to see, to be able to hear your music. And so it's important that you're here. And the people here that are in this audience here are going to, you know, I think I understand better about the importance of trying to change U.S. policy. It makes no sense. And it hasn't worked, you know, by any measure. So, and we've been doing it for, like, 50 years. And if something hasn't worked in 50 years, you're probably time to change it. So maybe we can come to a more mature policy where we respect one another, and maybe the musicians and the artists can be at the forefront of helping this movement to bring us together. And so we're honored you're here, and we're looking forward to hearing you play your music and sing your songs. And thank you so much.